Welcome back to Twist Grip Tales Tech Tips, and next on this little baby we're going to be adjusting the chain. Now, very important that the chain is adjusted correctly, and too many people just don't get it right. The first thing is to determine, does your chain need adjusting at all? So the first thing you need to do is work out that if you're not sitting on your motorbike, you're not getting the correct adjustment, because the chain needs to be at its tightest point, which is loaded with you sitting on the bike. So then you need to reach down, sitting on the bike, and you're looking for 20 mil, which is about 1 inch in the old school. This bike chain is adjusted. This is pretty good, but we're going to go through and show you as if it's not adjusted correctly in just a moment. So let's get into adjusting this chain. You need 4 spanners. You need a 17, a 19, a 12 and a 13 millimeter, and with them, then you can start adjusting the chain. So let's do it, shall we? Please take notice that we've got a bungee strap keeping this side stand down, because you don't have to shift this bike very much for this to click up, and then you've got no support. So just put a safety on it like I have, and everything's going to be shipshape and safe. It's a granny's knot. 17 mil, 19 mil, a 12 mil, and a 13 mil. So I like these long spanners because you don't have to put much effort into it. So before we start adjusting the chain, the first thing we want to make sure is the back wheel in line with the front wheel. Now there's many ways that you can do this. You can get straight pieces of timber, but I like to use a simple method using a piece of cord. Just tie it on the back here, nice and simple. Run the cord around the back tyre, around the front tyre and back again, nice and simple. All right. Okay, so we've got the piece of string around the back tyre, around the front tyre. Back tyres are a little bit wider than the front tyres. So what we're looking for is the front tyre, the back of the front tyre to be the same distance from the string on each side. And there it is, it's the same distance from the string on each side. And then the string should be touching the front of the back tyre on both sides. And it's touching on this side, it's touching on this side, and that means it's within a mil or two of being centre. Now you won't have to be doing a wheel alignment every time, but it's nice to check every year or so and make sure that everything on your bike is pointing in the right direction. If your wheels aren't aligned, then your bike is basically turning a left-hand corner or a right-hand corner all the time. And if you hit a bump, your steering is always looking to self-correct. If your bike is set up properly, you'll hit a bump and you'll bounce square. If your wheels aren't right, you'll be bouncing cockeyed. You'll be going any which way, and it could set up a weave, and that's not a good thing. So you want to make sure that your bike is doing the best. Someone's put a lot of effort into making a frame straight, making the wheels steer straight, getting some suspension going. You want to give that the best opportunity to do the right thing by you, to keep you on the road and safe. And keeping your wheels in alignment is all part of that. You've only got 2, keep them in line. Then we go back to the important part, which is adjusting the chain. All right, so adjusting the chain, remember we're looking for 20 mil when you're sitting on it, when the chain is at its tightest position. So the lock nut, 13 mil, loosen that off. And then we've checked that our chain, our wheels are in line. So we want to keep that the case. So these hex bolts, if we turn one flat side at a time, that's 60 degrees. And we move both bolts exactly the same amount. So if we've got a flat on the top, we want to move it to the next flat side on the top. So we'll just go 60 degrees. There we go. That'll be fine. So we're going to check that out, do the same on the other side. Tighten up the lock nut again. Do exactly the same on the other side. Undo the lock nut. Tighten this up. One flat on the top. tighten up the lock nut. That'll be good. So we don't want to over tighten it, we want to get our full weight on it, test the chain, 20 millimetres, that's 20 millimetres. So we've adjusted the chain perfectly. Now we tighten up the axle and then we lubricate it. Now the rear axle and the front axle are pretty important pieces of equipment. You certainly don't want these coming loose. So you need these done up pretty firm, and the joy of these long spanners is very easy to get firm. Not over tight, just really firm. And there we have it. Chain is adjusted. Now without a centre stand to get the back wheel off the ground and be able to spin the wheel to lubricate the chain, there are a few options. You can tip it up on the side stand. You can use a car jack as we have with a nice piece of wood to protect the frame. You can always get a bike lift on the back axle, lots of room on the back axle. Do it with a friend and it's very simple. So lubricating the chain, there's two basic sorts of chains. One are O-ring chains, which are probably the best sort because the lubricating oil for the chain stays inside the chain and all you're lubricating is the O-ring, so the O-rings stay there. Or as the standard chains are here, not an O-ring, just a standard chain. So you need a penetrating oil, something that won't throw off. You don't want to put too much oil on because spinning around on the chain, it'll just throw it off and get muck all over your bike and possibly on you. There's lots of different chain lubes. I prefer a white lithium grease. It goes on dry, stays on the chain, doesn't throw off, really good lubricating. So you want to do it every time you can. Don't put as little on as you can possibly put on, and after it rains, you want to lubricate your chain. That's how you keep it. And give it a good birthday present with a wipe with a rag every now and again, just to take the muck off the outside. So let's just quickly do this. We can spin the wheel easily. We've got some paper down, so we're not going to get any muck on the tyre. Don't want to get any lubricating on the tyre. So let's just So we've lubricated the chain. You'll notice that we did that from the inside out, not the outside in, because the oil will throw out. So you put it on the inside, it'll gradually find its way to the outside of the chain, and that means you don't have to do all the work, and you lubricate the bit that comes close to the sprocket. So we've checked the alignment of the wheels. We've shown how to loosen off the axle. We've adjusted each side to keep the alignment of the wheels in place, and we've shown how to get the correct adjustment, 20 mils, 1 inch, when you're sitting on the bike at the tightest possible place on the chain, and how to lubricate it. So that's a good job done. That'll keep your chain on a bike like this. You'll get 20,000 kilometres, maybe even more, if you look after your chain well. So thanks for watching. Next episode, we're going to be changing the oil. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. See you next time.